The Skeleton Twins from writer-director Craig Johnson is a comedy drama featuring Kristin, Wiig, and Bill Hader as a pair of estranged siblings, Maggie and Milo Dean, who reconnect after 10 years following Milo's failed suicide attempt. With nowhere else to go, Milo moves in with his sister and her new husband Lance, played here by Luke Wilson. And what follows is a frank, subtle look into the damaged lives of two similar but very different damaged people. Milo attempts to cope with some lifelong emotional and psychological wounds with Maggie and Lance's help, and Maggie is forced to reevaluate her own life, one that isn't quite as happy or emotionally stable as she wants everyone to believe. Hi, I'm Cinematico Magnifico of AmoralCrackpot.com, and welcome to the Nightly Chill. Now, comedy often comes from a dark place, an uncomfortable place, perhaps even a place of tragedy, so it's no wonder that some of the best, the most earnest dramas have often had a comedic undertone to them that often highlights the tragic with a hint of dark humor. Nor is it any surprise, if and when given the proper material and direction, that some of the finest dramatic performances also come when those with a history of comedic performances dare to venture outside that protective persona of the class clown. The story and plot are hardly original, nor is the film creatively presented, often steering too close and too often into that cliched niche so many indie films seem to fill today. The score and retro soundtrack are well utilized, yes, but often have to pick up for the slack of what feels like lazy rather than simple visual storytelling. Scenes are often static, relegated to talking heads, and feel as if Johnson set the camera on a tripod and simply walked away. And while this worked for directors like Kevin Smith some 20 years ago, and more than once, it's not quite as endearing these days, when cameras have become far more mobile than the massive rental cameras directors like Smith were forced to use in the early 90s. Fortunately, Wiig and Hader deliver some of the most heartfelt and emotionally engaging dialogue exchanges I've witnessed in years. Their relationship as siblings feels about as real as they come, never coming across as superficial or monotonous. They love each other some moments, hate each other the next, are best friends and bitter enemies, but there is always this sense of familial love, a sort of bond that only exists between two individuals who have suffered together for a number of years. Unfortunately, the same can't really be said about the supporting cast. Luke Wilson's Lance, for example, is hardly even present, serving little more as a stock placeholder for where a more well-crafted character should have been. While some of this might fall on the subtle performance from Wilson, the role simply comes across as undercooked. And this is more apparent when Ty Burrell's Rich, Milo's former teacher and lover, is introduced and revisited several times throughout the film. While Lance and Rich share about the same amount of screen time, the scenes featuring Rich give the character more attention and focus rather than leaving him, like Lance, to stand around in the frame until required to speak. More to the point, while Joanna Gleason appears as Milo and Maggie's estranged mother, this single brief dinner sequence only exists to remind the audience that it was the siblings' father who raised them. In fact, their father only appears in the same brief repeated flashback sequence several times, for a total screen time measured in seconds, but feels far more present than either Gleason's Judy or Wilson's Lance. That all said, The Skeleton Twins is a flawed but fun and touching slice of life dramedy, with two performers well known for their comedic chops who are sure to leave you happily surprised by the emotional depth of their on-screen chemistry. Just don't expect the same from much of anyone else who pops up in the movie, most of whom feel like odd distractions from Wiig and Hader. But unbalanced supporting cast aside, this is one smartly done indie darling you should definitely take the time to chill with the first chance you get. That's gonna do it for us tonight on the Nightly Chill. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and also be sure to leave me any questions, comments, suggestions for future reviews, and maybe even discuss today's movie at greater length. And as always, this video is brought to you in part by our viewers. If you'd like to learn how to support this and other projects, please visit amoralcrackpot.com or check the description below. But until next time, y'all need to make like a tree and get out of here.